So y'all know me, basically I would talk about something in the chapter that I was really interested in, but now we gotta talk about this fire color page, which doesn't even actually appear in the chapter. It's not relevant to the narrative, but I want to talk about it because it looks fantastic. Nakaba coming back up with that artistic swagger. Let's hit it real quick. So we take a look at that young boy Percival. He's rocking the DD, the Dolores drip, as you can see. But the thing that I want to note here is that we remember that the witch, or whatever that goblin gremlin thing was a couple chapters back, did mention there was a boy with gold-colored magic, and that was supposed to be one of the 4. But Percival here appears to have some version of gold-colored magic, which is interesting. It's just something I noted, because it's something that overlaps, kind of. Like, his magic is golden, but I'm assuming the golden magic user would be the reincarnation, or, like, not the reincarnation, but the next user of Sunshine. But apparently, we just have 2 users of gold-colored magic, so possibly the user of Sunshine and also Percival. But I guess his magic is also like white towards the center. It's once again, it's looking like an off-brand goddess colored light. Like, it has the main white goddess color light-ish in the center, then it goes gold around the edges, which is really interesting to know. Wonder if that has anything to do with it, or if that's anything similar, sort of overlap between their powers. Can't wait to learn more about that. But let's move on from that to Talisker. Talisker, I like the amber armor itself. I especially like the coloring of the amber armor, because there's so many different details and shades going into it. I like how the shadows cast off it. But the only thing that jacks me up is the shade of purple Nakaba decided to use for his cape. Like, the cape, the design itself is still perfectly fine, but the way the cape looks is what's throwing me off. I'm like, I feel like if you could have rocked with purple if you really needed to, but you should have gone with like a different shade of purple. The way it's colored, it's like a faded purple, which goes really harshly against the rich coloring of the amber armor. It's sort of jacking me up, I'm not even gonna lie to y'all. But moving on from that young boy Talisker, let's look at that boy Donnie. Now, a couple way back now at this point had theorized that Donnie was like Gila and Hauser's kid or something like that. I just fully given up on that, especially now seeing his hair. Who knows? Anime could maybe not, could maybe be. Like, it could maybe not, he could still be their kid, but at the same time, in my mind, as going off hereditary stuff, maybe not. Who knows? He could still be, but I honestly don't like his design. Like, his color design, I think his in-series design is just fine, the black and white. But like the weird pinkish hair, pink purplish hair, it looks like Gother's hair, honestly, but like an off-brand Gother's hair. Then like the weird teal in the pants and the shoes, combined with like the awkward muddy brown. Like, I don't know, I don't like Donnie's color design. But then we have Dolores in the background, just chilling. And here's the thing, Dolores doesn't get mentioned in this chapter, and I wonder, like, obviously we're probably going to cut to her next chapter now that Talisker looks to be defeated. Spoilers, but I guess whatever, you're watching the review, you know what happened. And the thing is, I don't know, like, hopefully she gets mentioned, because she kind of just got body bagged and is now laying there. Remember, a shot of Ordo's poison is what, like, destroyed the entire forest. So Dolores took that directly to the mouth. So, I don't know, is she okay? We don't get to mention of her. Obviously, she's not going to be, I mean, I doubt she's going to be a main character. But if she is, like, man, she's getting done dirty right now. Sure, her color design is fine. Once again, looking like, actually, her hair is bright blonde in comparison to, hold on, let me look up original Dolores, 1 second. Alright, the second has passed. I looked up original Dolores. I couldn't find a colored version of her in the manga, and I can't tell, like, the picture is too small for me to tell exactly what color her eyes are. 1 second. Alright, the second has passed once again, and I'm starting to less and less believe this is original Dolores. I know we don't see her actually colored in the original manga chapter she debuted in. I know the manga's coloring sometimes differs from the anime's coloring, but not only does this Dolores seem to have like greenish eyes, and the original Dolores had pure brown eyes, at least going off the anime. Once again, we never saw her colored in the manga as far as I remember, and as far as I can tell from this quick Google search. But on top of that, this Dolores seems to have like bright radiant blonde hair, while original Dolores seemed to have like a dirty blonde near brunette hairstyle. Not like Diane brunette, but much more differently colored. But this is original Dolores, and her design just got changed, or something happened to her that made her eye color and hair color change. And maybe it still could be original Dolores. I don't know. She's in a really interesting spot. Really want to learn more about her, but I'm not sure if that's going to happen anytime soon. Then, Ordo, you still disgust me, man. Like, just get off the skin. I hate that Nacian's coat, his drippy coat, is so long that it literally shows the gap between Ordo's eyes and his mouth. It's so gigantic. And you can see the top of his nose and everything. Ordo, you're disgusting, Nakaba. Why did you include him? If he stays like this, I'm gonna cry. But regardless of that, taking a look at that young, the drippiest character in the entire series. Yo, I love Nacian's color design. Like, here's where the green works for him. For me, I think the green on Nacian's is fire. Like the teal in the hat, the greenish color on the blade. I'm not sure if that's Henbane or Belladonna. And the purple on the other blade, fire. The blue, fire. The drip, fire. Yo, Nacian's, he's the best. But enough of that. Let's actually hop into the chapter itself. Before we hop in this review of Chapter 12 of Fortnite of the Apocalypse, please do me a favor and leave your own thoughts on the chapter in the comment section down below. Leave a like and subscribe if you haven't already. Now, let's get into it. What's up, guys? I got the pencil here, and here we are to review Chapter 12 of Fortnite of the Apocalypse, aka it's showtime. And on top of that, aka Percival just whoops a poor man. Like, let's be real. This entire chapter, since I've already spent so much time, I'm just gonna say, this entire chapter is Percival just body bagging Talisker, like, horribly. It doesn't even matter that Talisker introduces his magic Calamity, which allows him to control the weather, but Percival just reverses it. Talisker tries to drop a lightning bolt on Percival. Percival just absorbs it, smacks it back at him. Talisker tries to slice Percival apart. Percival's magic is too thick and it defends him. It just body bags Talisker. Talisker just gets smacked up this entire chapter. Like, I honestly thought Talisker, we were gonna have another Pelguard situation, where Talisker is like, maybe we will. Next chapter, maybe he gets back up and is like, darn, maybe I actually need to start trying. But unlike Pelguard, who like never said, this is my greatest magic that I shall use against you, Percival. This is literally my man Talisker being like, now face your doom before my greatest, most powerful of magics, Calamity Bird. And Percival bodies Calamity Bird because it looks like a rock and he just chops it up. So, I don't know. My boy Talisker, he looking kind of fodder. Like, I know this is a stronger Percival, so that doesn't necessarily mean Pelguard and Ironside are stronger than him, but Pelguard and Ironside put on a much better show. Like, I'm not gonna lie, Talisker got body bagged this entire chapter, and that's literally the end of the chapter. The chapter ends with Percival body bagging Talisker, and then on top of that, we move right back to Percival powering down. He says, phew, and the chapter's over. So let's actually talk about the contents of the chapter itself and what I think about it. So, Percival's random power-up. Considering this isn't necessarily too random, since we know he powers up in dangerous situations anyway, I'm not entirely surprised that he got way stronger here. And anything, I feel like this ties into his nature as the Horseman of Death. I saw people talk about this online, and now when they brought it up, I thought about it too. The way that Percival, every single time he seems to come near death and his magic pops up, he seems to get stronger. I know it's only happened twice, and his magic doesn't pop up when he initially ends up surviving his fight with Ironside, or mainly his massacre by Ironside, but I feel like every time Percival gets close to death, his body is going to react by releasing more and more latent magic that's within him. Almost like a death reaction, almost like a Zenkai boost, if y'all know Dragon Ball Z. So I feel like every single time we see one of these knights put Percival on the back foot, he's just going to get back up and put them on the back foot because of how much more powerful he's going to get. Another interesting thing to note about Percival's magic, it appears that it's always him. Like, even before he starts to mold it properly, his magic is super unstructured. It's basically just flowing out of him. It's literally so powerful. It's reaching out of the gorge. But if you look at his aura, it's constantly those little appearances, those little faces of him. They aren't popping out to help him attack, because I'm assuming he just isn't ordering them to do that at the moment. But they're literally all just floating heads. Like, his aura is still the massive, I'm assuming, golden aura, but he has little hymns popping out of him consistently. They just aren't forming legitimate bodies. That's an interesting thing to know. Also, it appears that Percival's magic is like free form. Like, when I read the chapter, I got some idea of like baby chaos powers. Maybe not chaos powers in particular, because he's not necessarily reality warping, but it's almost like, it's weird. What's the example power I'm looking for? Like imagine if Percival had a wad of Play-Doh. That's his magic. He can make it whatever he really wants to think. Like, he has a set pool of magic that he can manipulate, and however he wants to manipulate it, it can do whatever he wants. So he wanted to defend himself from the hail, but he's a child, so he decided of just eating a whole bunch of pebbles, and then he spat them all back out like a machine gun. He wanted to defend himself against Talisker, so it literally just acted as a shield. It was just a thick wall of magic that blocked all of Talisker's swings. You take a look at something else. Talisker says, you can't beat me unarmed. What does Percival do? He makes a giant hand. It's not an arm, but it's basically close enough, and he slaps Talisker down. Talisker goes dropping down lightning bolts. Doesn't even matter, because Percival's like, come on now, bruh, you fought her, and he catches the lightning bolt. This one I didn't necessarily understand. Due to this chapter, I'm also assuming that Percival's magic almost acts as like a conduit, or like a power sapping thing. Like, it sapped away all the damage done by Talisker in the beginning, obviously. It healed him up. But on top of that, the magic, it like literally absorbed the lightning bolt and used it like an enchantment. Like how Meliodas would go enchant Hellblaze, Percival just went enchant Steel. Like, he combined Snatch and enchant Hellblaze and made a lightning hand. And weird thing is though, it looks like he siphoned all his magic off of himself and then proceeded to just hold it in his magic hand. And then he concentrates it down and then slams it down. It's interesting. Like, he completely negates all defensive properties his magic was having in order to force it down into the hand. Now that becomes a question of if Percival using his magic as a defensive property eats away at it. Like he'll slowly run out of magic that he can manipulate into different shapes if he keeps using it too much. Like it's a fuel thing, or if Percival was just consciously putting all of his magic into his hand instead of defending himself anymore, since Talisker wasn't a defensible threat, and the main thing he was defending was something directly from above him, so the magic surrounding him wouldn't do him any good. It's really interesting how the magic just concentrates itself further and further until Percival literally forms an exact blade. Like the blade, which is a nice callback to chapter 1, the blade that he used to cut up the rock bird, he makes out of his magic, and it's sharp enough, and he slices right through the calamity bird that Talisker sends at him. I think it's a bird of fire. I can't tell if it's fire or hail or something. Like it's some apparently weather thing. I think it's a combination of both hail and lightning, and maybe fire. No, I think it's just hail and lightning. Looking at it, because when he throws it, there are lightning bolts coming down, and there seems to be hail coming down, and then they form into the bird itself, and that explains how it gets cut up for the most part. And here's the thing to note: like, I'm really rocking with y'all who said that this magic, or no, that Percival is like a celestial or something, or celestial or a descendant of the Gods Clan or anything like that. I'm really starting to buy it, mainly because this sword, especially the way he holds it up, looks exactly like Ludishel and Elizabeth. Like if y'all remember when they did the alliance thing and they both made those light blades, like they crossed them, that looks exactly like this, the same like arcing magic and everything. I know that when we see it colored, it's not like the pure goddess light. When the goddesses made light constructs, it was usually just bright flashes. It was like the thing that Ironside was doing it in chapter 1, like where he made the simple arcs of energy and bam, but it looked pure light. But going off the beginning of the chapter, Percival's light has a golden hue to it, because that would explain like it's the diluted version of goddess magic. This just looks way too similar. I know Nakaba has a lot of similar design philosophies. Like I got confused off rip when Nasians went henbane to Belladonna a few chapters ago with his two knives, and I thought it was light and darkness, just because it looks similar like that to me. So this could just be another coincidence, like it happens to look like goddess magic, especially those goddess swords that Elizabeth and Ludishel did, just because of Nakaba's similar design philosophies. But this one seems way too intentional. Like, that literally looks exactly like it. And then the interesting thing is, actually, that may be it enhanced and shaped by the lightning magic if he didn't get rid of all of it. And the thing is, when Percival's magic finally dispels, like the rock blade or whatever goes away, it's a lightning that forms around him, like sparking, and then it fades away. It's not like his magic itself, which at the start of the chapter, if you look back, is very like flowy and round and just honestly popping off of him. Like basically he's like covered in soap bubbles. Towards the end, the magic disperses and it's much more rigid and lightning-like. Weird things to note, but I feel like that means something. Like maybe he absorbed a lightning property from fighting Talisker, and like he can keep certain properties of magic by like killing them or absorbing them or something. Like, I don't know. It's weird stuff. We have so little information on Percival's magic and how his body works and what the heck he is. Like, if this man's still just a regular human, I'm blown, bro. Like, I'm not even gonna lie. I'm blown. And here's the thing. Looking back at it, I believe that, yeah, Talisker drops his little controller thing that was what I assumed was allowing him to control Ordo. So I wonder if that thing gets destroyed, if Ordo's gonna be like, oh, well, I guess it's time to go back to normal now, and he goes back to normal. And speaking of Ordo, last chapter I mentioned he may have been like one of Arthur's former guards, like the same thing that Percival's grandfather was. Like, he was someone who worked under Arthur, but not failed, or just defected from Arthur because he didn't like Arthur's methods or what Arthur was doing. But I don't think that's the case anymore, at least based on what Talisker describes in this chapter. Basically, the main issue that Talisker had with what Ordo was doing was helping the other races. And he said that was a sin, he couldn't let it slide, and thus he transformed Ordo into that monster to destroy the gorge and destroy the planet, not destroy the planet. I mean, he says raise the earth, but I'm assuming that just means like destroy it and make it uninhabitable, and that's what Sin was talking about last chapter. Not last chapter, I think like 2 chapters ago, when he said like, oh, the earth here is polluted, that's why your prayers didn't reach it. So I'm assuming along those lines, that's where we get to the idea of Arthur being evil once again. Because here's the thing. What Talisker says is that he's doing this all for his lord, the great lord King Arthur. He's just trying to save King Arthur himself so he can build that beautiful, perfect world of his everlasting kingdom of only humans. No other species, only humans. He wants the everlasting kingdom for just humans. And here's the thing. I believe off rip on the back end of Seven Deadly Sins, like Nakaba tried to slide in the idea that, oh, y'all are humans, y'all are different species, you'll never be able to understand each other. That doesn't even make sense, because the entire series, the Seven Deadly Sins, is a ragtag group of people of completely different species. The only overlaps are Escanor, Ban, and Merlin, and for one reason or another, they're all technically human, but they barely count as human. Ban towards the end of the series is just a regular human, but that's the thing. They all have special circumstances, but most of them are mixed races and they all got along. Look at the giants and the fairies. They are two different species. They got along really, really well, even thousands of years ago. So I don't know what the squad was. What's the issue? Like, this seems like a whole new pushed part of the narrative that I just wasn't expecting, which is fine. I'm cool not expecting things, but it seems like this inability of the races to understand each other, and that seems like it's forced. Like, this isn't something genuine. This seems like, oh, I need conflict, but let me do this. And not gonna lie, I thought segregation of the races was supposed to be Deathpierce's thing. I thought he didn't want to live in a kingdom ruled by a demon and a goddess, and thus he went back to Edinburgh and like was building up his own human-only kingdom. Is Deathpierce working with Arthur? Like, are these just two people who happen to live on the exact same planet? Planet. Yeah, are these two people that happen to live on the exact same planet, happen to share the exact same goals, but just aren't working together? Are they working? Like, there's so many questions that I have now, because I thought Arthur was just being evil for the sake of building an everlasting kingdom for anyone who is subservient to him. Because Nanashi isn't human. I mean, he kinda is now, but he just ripped his wings off. So I'm assuming Nanashi is still a goddess. So you gonna segregate against him? What's the strat? What's the strat, Arthur? Let me know. Let me slide it up. Let me see. What's the strat? You gonna kick Nanashi out? Like, what is going on? And I guess that's a good question to ask. Because once again, despite us being 12 chapters in, we are super early in the narrative, so I'm willing to be patient. But I'm gonna need some answers. Answers to questions. Is Dolores okay? We don't know. Does she even get visually shown in this chapter? I don't think she does. Hold on. Let me do a quick run through of this entire chapter. Yo, not gonna lie, before I do that, Ordo looks so swaggy. Not swaggy, he looks so confident while standing up to this holy knight. Like, when he's standing up to Talisker here, and this one, like, background panel, it's so cool. I like seeing Ordo like that, like this calm, composed human, rather than that nasty thing he became. But yeah, I don't even think we see Dolores. Like, Dolores isn't even visually shown in this chapter outside of the color page, which is wild. But yeah, like, literally, shouldn't she be somewhere around here? No, I guess Nasians and Percival did move up, and Sin and Donnie did move up. So, I guess it makes sense that we don't see her. Hold on, let me go back to the beginning. Yeah, we just don't see her at all in this chapter. So, Dolores, are you okay? Question 2, Percival's magic. Is it adaptory? Like, what are the properties of Percival's magic? What are the limits, too? Like, if Percival just keeps getting stronger and stronger, will he just have more things to manipulate? Will he basically be able to just do whatever he wants with his magic as long as he can think of it? I don't know. I want to know. I need answers. Is Ordo going to be able to turn back? Because we keep seeing this weird little staff that seems to be controlling Ordo or something along the lines. That's my assumption, because Talisker isn't using it to fight. He has it just strapped to his waist. So I'm assuming that's what's controlling and transformed Ordo. And another question, how did Talisker transform Ordo? I don't think weather powers equal shape-shifting humans. Like, seems like a weird off thing to me, but maybe that's just me. Maybe I'm the one who's getting caught lacking. Maybe if I hit someone with the right amount of electricity, they're just going to turn into this hideous monster that no one loves anymore. Maybe, I guess. I don't really know. So I'm intrigued to see how he transformed him. This is just like, I had thought about it last chapter as like maybe Arthur had lent all his holy knights like a minor bit, like a little double dabble of chaos powers, so they could like use it to either defend themselves or to punish people. And that's how he transformed him. That seems like a very chaotic thing to do, like the reality warping aspect of it. That's what's got my attention. But everything else about it, I'm just intrigued to see what happened. And then obviously Percival's magic, how it works. I want to see how that functions. On top of that, Sin, you look way too calm, bro. Like, in the one panel, let me see if I can find it. He's literally standing there while Nasians and Dolores, not Nasians and Dolores, while Nasians and Donnie are getting blown back by the lightning, and Sin's just standing there, stanced up, not a single care in the world. Like, he just gets his tail put up. That's all he cares about. It's just interesting to see. I need to learn more about Sin. I'm still going to keep harping on that fox. I don't fully trust him. And yeah, that's really it. Like, this chapter, it goes into decent detail, but once again, too many questions for me to like actually possibly begin to comprehend the ramifications of this chapter. Like, is Ordo going to turn back? Is Talisker truly defeated? Was he holding back? I feel like he wasn't. Like, here's the question for y'all today. Was Talisker holding back? Because I'm going to say he wasn't, because he used his greatest and most powerful of all magic and was actively trying to kill Percival to save his lord. Unlike Pelgard, who was interested in training Percival. So I can understand Pelgard holding back, but I can't fully understand someone like your young boy Talisker holding back. But that's the question, because other than that, this chapter, I mean, it's good. This chapter is an 8 out of 10. I like it, but it has so many questions and so few answers that I can't give it full stop. Like, I like the color page, I like all the art in this chapter, I like the different little minor details, like the ones you have to look for really hard within the art itself, but at the same time, it doesn't answer enough questions for me, and it keeps a lot of the old questions. That's the difference. It gave me like a couple new questions, but didn't give me enough new questions for me to be like, yes, I'm very, very intrigued about how things are going right now. But at the same time, it gave me so few answers that I can't praise it that much. But I still got to give it a lot of props because of how the art is done, how the story's progressing, and how cool that Percival is just being right now. Like, this is the kind of Percival I like. So this is honestly a very good chapter still, but it's not as good as any of the last couple chapters have just been hits. This is still a hit, but it's not as, like, I'm not gonna play this in my car completely 100% of the time. It'll go on occasionally. Like, I won't skip it if it comes on the radio, but I don't know. I won't change stations, but still, I'm super intrigued for next chapter. Hopefully we see some more plot progression. Hopefully we see what happened to Talisker, what's gonna happen with Ordo, everything. But that's what I'm thinking. What do you guys think about this chapter? Please tell me in the comment section down below. Thank you guys so much for watching. Please remember to like, share, comment, and subscribe, and I hope you guys have a wonderful day. This is that guy with the pencil, writing off.